Awesome, wonderful. Well, thank you, Rodney, for the introduction and inviting our Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business team to present to your organization today. My name is Liam Lay, and I'm the Outreach Director for Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program here in the Chicagoland area. I do want to share with you guys that I am 2.5 weeks into my job. So please bear with me. I'm not going to know all the answers to your questions, but I'm excited to share with you that we do have our executive director, Randy Kravitz, who's also joined us today, and he certainly can answer any questions that I can't. And he may have to correct me in some areas, hopefully not, but just in case, he's here with us today. Hi, Randy. Please say hello.
Hello.
Hi, Randy. Thank you for joining us. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you can please advance to the next slide, Ronnie, that would be great. Thank you. All right, so a little bit more about our program. I'm actually just going to take about 20 minutes or so to walk you through our entire program, our curriculum, what the criteria are, all of those things. And of course, we will be accepting questions at the very end. Should you have a question at any time, once again, just enter it into the Q&A. And we will be more than happy to address. And we do invite you to ask any questions. We love to hear from each and every one of you. And I'm hoping that you will all be part of our program. It's a wonderful program, and I'm excited to tell you about it. Okay, so the program was first brought to us back in 2011 with Mayor Rahm Emanuel. And we launched our first cohort back in 2012. Today, in 2021, we're about to complete cohort 28 at the end of April. Cohort 29 will begin in May, and we are now accepting applications for cohort 30 in September. By the end of this cohort, cohort 28, at the end of April, we will have more than 800 alumni in our program. So one of the beautiful advantages of being part of our program is this wealth of alumni and peers you have access to. And of course, we are a national program with 19 educational sites. Chicago, the Chicagoland area being one of those education sites, which I will speak to in a little bit. But I also want to make you aware that we are a globally recognized program. We also have this program in the UK, and as of last year, we expanded into France. So it's a highly reputable and also well-recognized program, obviously with the Goldman Sachs funding behind it and name recognition as well. So Goldman Sachs funds this program, and when they first started with us, they wanted to support 10,000 businesses. We're excited to tell you that we reached 10,000 businesses last year, and they're very committed to the program, that they invested another $250 million to support and help the next 10,000 small businesses. For any of you who are a scholar in our program, the program is free. Yes, free. So it's a wonderful program to be a part of. It's no cost to you, but I do want to stress and emphasize that it is a huge commitment for any of the scholars in our program. It's a 14 to 15 week intensive curriculum. That's part of our educational program. But the whole goal behind it at the end of the day is to help you devise a growth plan for your business to take you, I like to say, if you're going from 0 to 100, we want to take you from 100 to 1,000 by the time we're done. And many of the scholars that I've spoken to have said it's like getting an 18-month executive level MBA in only 4 months. All right, next slide, please. Thank you. As far as the criteria and the qualifications to be accepted into our program, we do not work with early stage startups. So if you're still in concept stage or ideation stages, we work with small business owners that have been in a business at least 2 years or more, with a revenue threshold of 150,000 to 8 million, and have employed 4 full-time equivalents. What that means is you can also have 1099 contractors, you can have part-time staff. Of the 4, one of those can be the owner. And the reason behind this is that we want the owners, it's mandatory that the owner be the person participating in the program. And because it is an intensive curriculum that requires the owner to commit their time away from the business, working, of course, on devising a growth plan to grow the business, we want to ensure that there's staff remaining to ensure that the business is still running smoothly and able to take care of all the day-to-day functions and needs that have to take place with running a business. So that's really the idea behind it. Also, we want owners that understand just sort of the first hurdles of running a business, which is why we want you to be a little bit more established. And so that when you're going through the entire curriculum, you're familiar with all the challenges that all small business entrepreneurs and owners go through. Another key thing I wanted to point out is we have relaxed the criterion for minority business owners. We do want to support underserved populations. So if you are minority business owners, the revenue threshold drops down to 100,000 and to 2 full-time equivalents. Of course, if you have any questions around this, please feel free to apply, ask us any questions. We do want to look at each and every one of you to see where we can meet your needs. And if for whatever reason you don't meet the criteria now, please look at us, in a few months or with the next cohort. Next slide, please. Okay, as far as our program overview, we are a public and privately funded partnership through Goldman Sachs, and we partner for our curriculum, our educational curriculum, with Babson. They have been consistently ranked in the top 1.5 for their entrepreneurship business program, and so we leverage their curriculum and bring it out when we use that for our own curriculum. In addition to partnering with Babson, we also partner with the ICIC, the Initiative for a Competitive Inner City, and they handle our national recruiting for all of the sites across the country. We leverage the best practices that they can bring from a recruiting standpoint, and we apply that locally so that we ensure that we're bringing in the best recruits and best candidates to be scholars in our program. A key thing to keep in mind is we have a peer-to-peer network. I mentioned our alumni network earlier, where all the scholars are learning from one another, facing the same challenges. But each scholar will also have a business advisor that will be with them, helping them each step of the way from the very first week through the last week, and working closely to help each scholar devise their growth plan that's really going to grow their business. So in addition to that practical business and management education that each scholar is getting through the curriculum, they're getting a lot of support through advisors, and of course also the breadth and depth of the entire network that the program offers. Some scholars may need help with getting access to capital. Not all of them do, but for those that do, we ensure that we provide resources to help you with your pitch when you present in front of lenders. We want to make sure that you are as bankable as you can be, and we will help get you there. And whether it's pitching to lenders, whether it's making introductions for you to CDFIs or something else, again, our program will help you with ensuring that you're comfortable with that process. The key goal behind our program is really 2 things. First is revenue growth. The second is job creation. So we want to make sure that you're growing profitably, financially, as well as helping to create jobs that supports our entire ecosystem. Next slide, please. All right, so of course, we've been operating our program since the very first cohort back in 2012. And along the way, we've made sure to partner with all of the major organizations within the Chicagoland area. These are just a handful of the many partnerships that we've developed. I'm sure many of these logos are familiar to you: the Women's Business Development Center, the Chicago Urban League, the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and so forth. This slide is simply to let you know that, again, it's not just our program alone, but we've got the extensive network of the entire Chicagoland area partnering with us to ensure the success of your business as you go through our program. Next slide, please. All right, regarding the educational curriculum, you're going to get practical business and management guidance to help you come up with your growth plan. And really, we look at this as a series of building blocks, each module preparing you for the next module, preparing you for the next module after that, so that by the time you're done, you have all of the critical components to help you with that growth plan that, again, is going to take you from 100 to 1,000, whether it's assessing your business model, identifying the growth and opportunities, your marketing plan, your financials, your operations, your staffing, all of these modules we will go thoroughly in depth with you throughout the program. We also have clinics, a negotiation clinic, a legal clinic, and many others. Again, you're going to get extensive educational and practical advice and guidelines to help you with that growth plan. So it is a commitment. We require about 100 hours in the classroom. And then outside of the classroom, it's about 10 to 15 hours of additional work. So it is a commitment for the owner when they invest in our program. But the reason for it is that we are giving you critical components to help you with that growth plan that's going to help grow your business. Of course, if you are applying for the program, we do ask that you're able to make that commitment. If you can't do it within this cohort, then look at the next cohort. We're reasonable people. We understand that sometimes emergencies will arise, but for the most part, please plan to be there for every single module when you join our program. Next slide, please. All right. So we talked about the growth plan and we talked about getting you from 100 to 1,000. Here are the results. We are a very results-driven program, and I'm going to let the numbers speak for us. Within 6 months, all of the businesses that have gone through our program, 50% of them have hired at least one or have created one new job opportunity within 6 months of completing our program. Compare that to the national statistic of only 22%, meaning small businesses that have not gone through our program, that's only 22% that have created at least one job in the last 6 months. From a revenue perspective, all of the businesses within our Chicagoland network that have completed the program increased their revenue by 70%. Compare that to the national level of small businesses that have not gone through our program, which is only 45%. And we have a very high graduation rate. 98% of our scholars complete the curriculum. Next slide, please. All right, so let me walk you through the application process. We have a two-phased approach. The first phase, phase one, is just a 10 to 15 minute questionnaire. When you apply onto the site, it's going to ask you the basic questions to ensure that you meet the qualifications that we mentioned earlier. The revenue threshold, the full-time equivalents, can the owner participate in the program, and so forth. If you don't meet the criteria, again, please consider us next time. And we do work with a lot of partners in the area so that if you're much more early stage, we can always make recommendations for you to one of those programs. And then maybe, after taking those programs where you're further along, you can join our program later. But I don't want you to, if you're not meeting the criteria now, certainly we hope you will consider us later. If you do meet the criteria and the qualifications now, we move you on to phase two. In phase two, it's our document submission process. There is a due date by which you have to submit all the documents. And those are documents such as your financials, your balance sheets, your income statements, an addendum application where you answer questions and give us a little bit more information about your business, proof of ownership, and so forth. Again, there is a due date by which you have to submit all of your documents. And since we are a very popular program, we highly encourage that you submit your applications sooner rather than later so that you have enough time to supply us with everything that is required to be a participant in our program. I'm going to remind you once again that once you are in the program, there is no cost to you. Our only ask is the time commitment to the program. After you've submitted all of the required documents and you've met the due date, or you've submitted it in time, we then invite you to join us for a personal interview with our team. In that interview, really, it's less about do you have all of the correct qualifications that need to be met. It's more about whether you're fit for the program. And simply, really, for the most part, what we're looking for are those who can engage with the other scholars, who can engage with our instructors. This is one of those programs where we all learn from one another. We're all sharing many of the similar challenges, and it's important that you are comfortable interacting and engaging with the other scholars. It is an interactive discussion-led format throughout the entire process. And so we'd love for you to share your learnings, share your thoughts, and share your perspective, and really speak up. We want to hear from you. And of course, after that, that's it. You're accepted in the program and you're off and running and working on building that growth plan. By the time you're done, you're just, you'll be hitting 1,000 because that's our goal. We want to make sure you're growing your revenue and again, creating jobs. One more thing that I forgot to mention earlier, and I apologize because it's in all of the slides. As part of our public and private partnership funding, it was important for Goldman Sachs that in all of our locations, we partner with the local colleges within the city. Here in the Chicagoland area, the school partnership is the City Colleges of Chicago, and specifically Harold Washington College, because that's the business school within the City Colleges of Chicago. So we partner with Harold Washington for the Chicagoland area. And so many of the instructors will come from the city colleges and so forth. And all we've heard are just phenomenal feedback about all of our instructors, many of whom have doctorates and other business knowledge and foundation behind them. Next slide, please. All right, so this is the final slide before we open it up for questions. My email is there. It's lle15@ccc.edu. Again, I will read that out loud. I know you can see it, but just in case, lle15@ccc.edu. I'm happy to take your emails and answer any questions. If you don't feel comfortable asking them today and you want to just shoot me an email, please do. Like I said earlier, we would love for you to be part of our program. We think it's a wonderful program. And so by no means, if you have any questions, if you're not sure, just shoot me an email and I will be glad to answer and help you even walk through the application process or whatever you need in order to help you be part of our program. As a friendly reminder, our next cohort 30 starts in September. So we are accepting applications now. The deadline is June 4th. Please get your applications in earlier. Try not to wait until the drop dead date. We want to make sure that you can supply us everything you need in order to be part of our program. The cohort dates for the fall begins September 7th, and it's going to run through December 15th. At this time, we do not know if it's going to be virtual or if it's going to be in person. Of course, it's one of those things where we're going to know when it's closer. We'll see how the pandemic situation is. Right now, our current cohort is all virtual, but normally we're an in-person program, and I believe, and Randy will correct me if I'm incorrect, but I believe when we are an in-person program, it's all day on Fridays. I believe it's every other Friday or every Friday, and then we may have an evening during the week on a Tuesday or so forth. Because we are virtual right now, the classroom hours are Monday and Fridays, and then their office hours in between, all of it virtual. But none of that is going to be determined until much closer to the date. So stay tuned whether it's in person or virtual. And then finally, the link for you to apply is there. I'll read that out loud just in case for whatever reason the font is too small or you're having technical difficulties on your end. It's www.10ksb, as in small businesses, chicago.com. Again, that's 10ksb, chicago.com, S as in small, B as in businesses. I think that's it for me. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions right now. And then, of course, Randy, feel free to jump in and offer any other information that I may have forgotten. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Liam, for an amazing presentation. I just want to say first, for everyone who is on the webinar right now, we will have this presentation up on our page. If you go to www.chicago.gov/DPS events, we have a section there for all of our presentations. So you'll be able to have this PowerPoint um, by the end of the day for sure. And then we'll also have a recording of this presentation up on our YouTube channel by Friday. So if you missed it, if you came late, you can have a chance to review this. So we'll have that resource available. So yeah, once again, thank you, Liam. And I want to open it up for questions. So if you have a question, please type it in the Q&A box right now.
Great, thank you. And there's no super question. It's in the Q&A. As far as I'm aware, we won't see you, so do not be shy, because I don't believe we can see the person, correct, Rodney?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. So
yes, don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Go ahead and type away. And in the interim, as you know, as we're waiting for questions to come through, Randy, is there anything more that you would like to share about the program that maybe, I didn't cover? I know that you've been, you've been with the program since 2015, is that correct, or 2016?
Well, first of all, Liam, you did a great job for being 2.5 weeks old in the position.
Thank you.
And I think you're going to do well. You've been able to gather all of that information in such a short period of time. The program itself, as Liam was saying, started in January of 2012. And I've been with the program since 2014. So right now, when we graduate the current cohort, in a couple of weeks, we'll be ending up with 820 alumni in Chicagoland, of which I personally know probably 600 of them. And through the alumni program, many more of them. The three areas, really, if you're taking a 30,000 foot view of it, is three things. One is the recruiting, which we're doing right now, and we recruit through the entirety of the Chicagoland area. I know most people on this call are probably from Chicago. One of the things that's important for us in the recruiting process is that we end up with a cohort that is as diverse as possible. What the diversity does, and that's diversity of different industries, different types of businesses, gender, race, ethnicity. The more diverse the cohort is, the better experience you get from the cohort. And that really talks to the peer-to-peer learning element. The peer-to-peer is, I think, something that's very special in that we usually have a fairly high number of business owners in the cohort. It's around 35 to 38 usually. And you get to know the other cohort members very, very well because you're with them for 14 straight weeks. And because our program is not a lecture series, it is an exercise and discussion curriculum. You do end up fostering great relationships, and we find that almost 90% of the business owners who are in the cohort end up doing business with other business owners. Some of them do it with one. I've seen other situations where they've maybe had 3 or 4 or 5 different business relationships. The main thing is that whether it is an acquaintance or a deeper relationship, either business-wise or personal, that these are some relationships that don't just stop at the end of the program, and in some cases have gone on to for many, many years. So that's the recruiting side of it. The second piece of it is the program delivery, and that is with, as Liam said, some great instructors of business at city colleges. The reason why Goldman Sachs is so bullish on working with city colleges is because community colleges know how to teach adults. In most city colleges, half of their enrollment are adults. So when it comes to our situation in city colleges, 90% of the instructors have been with the program since the beginning. So they have taught. In this case, we're at cohort 28, going on 29. So you have very experienced people in the program teaching, but you also are able to get great help from what we call business support services. You have a business advisor assigned to you throughout the program, and that business advisor is somebody who is going to, in some ways, challenge you, in some ways, have your thinking expanded, and certainly the place where you'll get a lot of resources, whether that be financial resources if you need it, or any other type of resources to help you run your business. The third piece is the alumni program. The alumni program is what Goldman Sachs is currently spending a lot of time, effort, and money on. The alumni, as Liam said, is now over 10,000, going on to the next 10,000. And so with that group, there is a built-in networking across the country that you're able to tap into for anything that you want. The group is held together communicatively by an app that Goldman has put together, and that app really is that main communication tool. It's a directory. It shares events. It's where you can post. It does a lot of things. So from the alumni standpoint, I don't know of any other program that A, has so many alumni, or B, has the ability to communicate with all of them, as well as continued education through the alumni program. So Liam and I are very excited about the program. I personally have dealt with probably 300 businesses a year, and certainly 100 or more that go through the program. And we have a very high success rate, as you have seen.
Great. And I believe there's also a chat button, so if you don't feel comfortable writing your question in the Q&A section, you can always send a direct chat and ask your question there, which is just to the host.
Well, I have to say, if there are no questions, Liam, in her first presentation, has done quite a good job.
All right, then.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, you did a great job. That no one has any questions. Once again, we will give you any last seconds to ask a question. If not, we still have Liam's information up here. If you want to email her directly, as I said, these presentations will be up on our page as well, along with the recording. So,
Right.
Yeah, I'm not getting any questions. So, you knocked it out of the park. Good job.
Or of course, also please apply through the website there, and certainly try phase 1 and see if you meet the initial qualifications. We do encourage you to apply. But thank you, Rodney. Thank you to the city and the Department Procurement Services for hosting us today. We greatly appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this this valuable information, and I'm hoping that our vendor community will take advantage of this workshop and some of the other workshops that we offer as well. So once again, Liam, thank you. Thank you, Randy, as well, for being a part of the presentation.
Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye, everyone. Have a good rest of your afternoon.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.